that was a massive run. I mean, Bubba gave me a heck of a push. Trying to plan my move for Carson, like I had to be fairly thoughtful with how I moved the wheel. So I really just tried to take the lane that was available.
Welcome back into NASCAR Film Room, folks. My name is Eric Eastep, and I am joined after pulling nearly an all-nighter at Atlanta the other night. I'm joined by Ryan Blaney, race winner. Ryan, congratulations first off. A dominant win, your second Cup Series win of the season. And this one came with a Harley. Did I see that right? Where does that rank among unique NASCAR trophies?
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. And yeah, it did. It came with the special like Sturgis edition Harley Davidson. I think they made that's like one of 26 that they made. I saw, and it was awesome. I mean, I learned that was part of the trophy before the race and saw it sit over there, and then I forgot about it. And then we were in Victory Lane, and they're like, "Oh yeah, hey, there's the Harley over there." I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." I don't ride a ton anymore. I used to ride a lot, a handful of years ago. I had some bikes, but yeah, that's definitely one of the more unique trophies that I've seen in a while. So it was fun to take it around the racetrack too. That was a cool experience.
Did you clock your lap time? How did it compare?
No, no, I just cruised around there, and I just there's no one there. Like all the stands were empty, and there was just Victory Lane folks, some people from my group. I was like, man, do you mind? Can I take it around for a lap? Like I would love to just cruise on this thing. Like, yeah, go ahead. There's nobody here. So yeah, I didn't clock it. It was just a nice, peaceful ride around the racetrack.
I like it. Very serene. I think everyone needed just a nice decompressing moment after finishing that race at after 2:00 in the morning. Well, Ryan, got a few moments, got a few highlights from the race. I need your help breaking down. I want to start just with the very beginning, because that first stage, that didn't look like the Atlanta of the past few seasons. You and your teammates were able to work together, get strung out, kind of gap the field for a bit there. I assume that was the pre-race plan, but were you surprised by how different, how strung out the racing was those first 60 laps?
Yeah, that was definitely our plan, right? We talked about that before the race, myself and Joey and Austin, that we were all pretty close together. And, once all three of us got lined up, I'm like, oh, perfect. Let's just see how much we can string it, on the bottom. I didn't expect it to be like that, and I think that the surface was super hot, right? It's the first run of the race.
Yeah.
So everyone doesn't really know what their cars are going to drive like. But it did surprise me of actually how strung out it got. I kept looking, and we would just keep losing a car and losing a car. And then there was only, 8 or 9 of us that were kind of in that lead pack. And then by the end of the stage, it was really strung out. Like myself and Reddick were kind of battling for the lead. But then other than that, it was like 7 car lengths back to third, another 7 back to fourth. I think just everyone's cars were driving so bad that, it was super tough. But then once the rain came, cooled everything off, then it was more like the typical Atlanta look that we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was interesting. Y'all had lap traffic to deal with lap after lap.
Yeah.
That was unexpected. But this was maybe the most dominant super speedway performance we've seen in this car over the last few years, Ryan. I mean, you won the pole, swept the stages, 171 laps led. You obviously win the race. I'm not trying to take anything away from you, but was this the best car you've ever driven in the draft?
I definitely think it was up there for sure. My car was incredibly strong. Leading, my car was really strong. Yeah. I could string a lane, really fast. It was hard for people to kind of contend for the lead. And sometimes they would. Sometimes moves you can't block. Sometimes people just get big runs, and I would just give them the inside. My car was best in the middle. And sometimes I could clamp their right rear quarter panel and keep the lead. Sometimes they'd clear me, and then I could develop a big run to kind of get them back pretty shortly after that. So, no, I mean, my group did an awesome job of bringing a really well-balanced race car with a ton of speed in it. And, it was nice to be able to control a lot of that race, be able to control a bunch of lanes. And if we lost the lead, kind of get it back in a timely manner. So props to the 12 team. I mean, they brought me a rocket ship and couldn't ask for a better weekend. Like you said, I mean, sat on the pole, won both stages, end up winning the race. Like you can't really ask for much more than that.
No, sir. That was it was very impressive. And yeah, to your point, it's like you could see guys get next to you maybe, but as long as you had that clean air, it felt like you were able to hold position, control those lanes. Well, let's fast forward, Ryan, now to about, this is right around 30 or so laps to go. You and your buddy Bubba Wallace were going at it all night long up front of the pack. Then there was a block towards the end. You got into the fence a little. It sounded like afterwards you were a little frustrated, weren't sure what happened. Looked to me, looking at the replay, Bubba at first sort of shaded low, then of course tried to cover the top. Hard racing, but what did you see there? What did you feel from your seat?
Yeah, I got a massive run down the front stretch. I mean, gosh, we all had a great battle going between myself, Bubba, Reddick, the 20, the 5, the 9. Like, all of us were kind of just continuing to swap positions.
Yeah.
So that was a really fun, battle we had going on. And, yeah, we had a big run down the front. And, I kind of shaded low, and he covered it. And then I tried to get to the top, and he covered it all the way to the wall. And then I just got into a weird air spot of getting really free kind of up there and tagged the fence. Fortunately, it didn't damage the race car. I wasn't quite sure if it did or not, but the wheel was straight. But then we got going on the next restart, and the thing was vibrating like crazy. And I was like, I think I have a problem. And that's why on that next restart, I got the lead on the bottom and immediately went to the middle, because if I did brake, I wanted to be out of the way. I didn't want to brake on the bottom and spin up into the field.
That's smart.
So, yeah, but it continued to, be able to run. And I think it was just looking at the car after the race. It had a bunch of paint, some residue from the wall, in the wheel. So it just unbalanced the right sides really hard. And that's why it was vibrating a lot. But yeah, it was just, hard racing, trying to keep the lead there with Bubba. And I just got in a weird spot, like I said, and kind of tagged the fence, and fortunately was able to keep going.
Yes, well, you and Bubba then worked really well together on the final restart. Looking ahead at overtime now, the push you got, looked almost like Hocevar got a good launch, but you and the 23 made up 2 car lengths by the time you got into turn 1. Was that just car speed? Was it timing? Was it you two just knowing how to push? How were you able to get so far front? We're gonna break down this whole overtime, but I just want to start with the launch that got you the lead.
Yeah, the launch. So I, wasn't the control car. Hocevar was. And so, I can't launch before him. So he got the immediate initial jump. But really where that speed came from, the restart box to turn 1, was Bubba and I just got connected really well. Mm-hmm. We kind of got tandemed up right away after the launch. And it seemed like the top, it took him a little longer to fully connect. And we were able to get clear, midway through 1 and 2. But then we almost got connected too much, because we left 5th. And then, when Bubba got side by side with the 77, he was able to pull Bubba off of me. So then I didn't have the help. So, yeah, how we got the really good run down the front was just getting connected, immediately.
Yeah, you guys seem to line up really well. But then to your point, with Bubba getting dragged back, you lost your help. You almost got too far out front. Carson Hocevar had 3 or 4 cars, like a freight train coming at you from down the back straightaway. We see you on the replay, kind of shade up, but you don't fully cover the top side. Is that just years of experience, discipline, knowing that, hey, trying to block that run's probably bad news? How are you able to stay disciplined in that moment and just hold your ground?
Yeah. I knew Bubba fell off me, off of 2. I knew I was clear to the top by a car length or 2. And then I saw the first 3 or 4 cars on the top were connected and coming really quick. And so, to me, I've always tried to throw high percentage blocks. I never really want to throw low percentage blocks, even at the end of the race. I feel like if I would have covered the top, I probably just would have got run through and spun, and wrecked. So, and that's just one of those things. It's a lane is coming too fast and I can't, you can't cover it. Sometimes you just can't cover it. So I tried to just kind of shade up quickly to kind of half make a move, kind of make them nervous, and then just try to get to the bottom and know the bottom is going to come, back. They're going to come back and I'm going to have help. So that was kind of just a live to fight another day type scenario right there in the situation that we were in. And fortunately, Bubba was able to get some help from the 20 to get him back to my bumper, into 3. And then we were able to get, connected off of 4 for the big run we all saw down the front stretch.
Great segue there. Yeah, the final, coming to the white flag, 1 lap to go. The push again you get from Bubba Wallace through the quad oval. You have Carson Hocevar up ahead, kind of on an island by himself, but you know this guy's unpredictable. So when you're building that run, you know you're going to have a shot at him heading into turn one there. Are you thinking through different options? Are you thinking through, do I want to fake? Do I want to just commit? With a guy like Carson out front, what's going through your mind trying to make that final pass?
Yeah, yeah. So we were really fortunate, Bubba and I, to get connected as well as we did off of four. I was bottom of three with the 97 and the 45. And going through three and four, coming to the white, Bubba got closed up to me into three, and I tried to leave as much air as I could for him. I tried to leave 3 feet or so to my left to where Bubba didn't get tight and could stay with me. And so fortunately that worked to where he and I got connected, heading down the front stretch really fast to the 77, who was really far out front. And in that spot, when I had Bubba pushing me and trying to plan my move for Carson, like I had to be fairly thoughtful with how I moved the wheel. Like I couldn't just grab a handful of wheel with someone pushing you because you're just going to get turned. And then also trying to figure out, okay, where do I want to go into one? Do I want to try to get to the bottom? Do I want to get to the top? In these cars, it's easier to protect bottom than it is to protect top, because it's easier to kind of just crank left and cover that bottom. I would have preferred to get to the inside of Carson because I felt like I could, if I got to his inside, I would have been able to clear him through 1 and 2. But he kind of shaded more bottom than, top. So I really just tried to take the lane that was available and kind of made a quicker move to the top and knew I wasn't going to clear him through 1 and 2. You normally can't clear to the top of 1 and 2, but at least we were in a spot to where, okay, I'm side by side for the lead now. And I hope that I get some help down the backstretch. So yeah, that was a massive run. I mean, Bubba gave me a heck of a push, and I appreciate, him committing to me right there. And then, yeah, the back straightaway, we got to the backstretch and Bubba got free. So he, took the run to the bottom, which was his shot to win the race. Like if he pushes either one of us down the backstretch, he doesn't win the race. So he has to make that move. Unfortunately for him, he wound up below the yellow line. But so with all of us 3 wide, a pack's coming now, to kind of swallow us up. And I'm trying to keep Christopher lined up into 3, into my mirror. And, kind of once I had him lined up through 3 and 4, he was able to stay really close to me all the way through. And then we got lined up really good on the top to where I got the shove, off of 4 and was able to win the race. So there was a couple big factors in that, final laps of Bubba really giving me good pushes on the restart and off of 4 on the white flag lap. And then Christopher, being right on me through 3 and 4 and off of 4 was a big help. So those guys were instrumental on helping us win the race. And I appreciate those guys helping me out. So it was a crazy race. I mean, especially when you get green, white checkers at that place, things happen quick and you just hope you make the right decisions and you hope that you get the help that you need to persevere and come through to win the race. And we were just fortunate we got the help, when we needed to and was able to pull it off.
Yeah, no, as good as your car was in this race, you always need a little bit of help, timely help to win these things. But I mean, you said you wanted the bottom because you thought you could clear, but I also heard you say after the race, the top at Atlanta, you were part of a 3-wide finish where the top won. So sometimes that momentum is key.
Yeah, it is. With the 2024 race there with me, Kyle Busch, and Daniel. Daniel was on the top, and I was on the very bottom, and Daniel was able to squeak through. So, I mean,
maybe that was in the back of your mind. You're like, hey, the top's not so bad here.
Maybe subconsciously. Yeah, I don't know. In the moment, I'm not thinking back to that Atlanta race a couple years ago, but just trying to give yourself a shot to win. And we just got fortunate, that we were able to get the help, like I said, when we needed and paired with a fast car was able to win the race.
I love it. Well, it was a lot of fun to watch. I think everyone who stayed up late got their money's worth with a great finish. Ryan, congratulations. I appreciate your time. And, I know you've been putting your interviewing skills to the test recently with your new show, On the Gas. I know this week you got Chad Ochocinco as your guest. What was he like when you put him on the hot seat?
Yeah, that was a fun show to film. That was an idea I had a couple years ago of, hey, I want to take as close of race ready cars that we can and put them on the track, because there's other driving experiences out there. but I don't feel like with those you get the full experience, right? The cars are a little older, they're kind of tuned down.
Yeah.
This is, these cars are pretty much Xfinity cars with the right seat in them. I mean, so they're as close as we're going to get. So we had two cars, one to run the big track at IMS, one to run the road course. And it was fun, man. With Chad, he was an awesome guest. He was an unbelievable person. And it was neat for me to get an athlete of his caliber and the career that he had into what we do. Okay, hey, what are the similar experiences you're having right now from what you did, and what are the differences? And he did great. He did great. I might have messed him up a little bit, but he got through it. He persevered. I'll give him props. There was a couple times I thought he was going to throw in the towel, but he stuck with it. And I'm excited for everyone to see it because he had some great things to say about it. And I hope we can continue with that show because I think it's just a great insight on, what we do week in and week out. And every single one of those guys that I had on the show, they got out and they're like, I was not expecting that. I'm like, well, yeah, that is what it is. Like, that's what everyone thinks. Like, you don't know, because motorsports are so tough to relate to because it's not as an accessible sport to everybody.
Yeah.
You can't really experience that. So, I'm happy that everyone's enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun for me to do. And like I said, I hope it continues.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to put it. It is cool to see these like athletes and actors like get to experience this and really get that perspective, but it's also fun just seeing them squirm,
Yeah. For me, it's great.
Yeah.
For me, it's great. And I'll tell you, on the road course, it's always fun for me to see, when we go into like turn one at the road course at Indy, it's a really heavy braking zone. And to see them just ragdoll forward in the braking zone, just not being ready for this big decel, that just is eye-opening to these people, right? They don't understand the deceleration that these cars go through in such a little amount of time. And then, experience all the curb strikes and stuff like that. And then on the big track, experiencing just the raw speed of, what the car is capable of and just the grip that it has through the corners. I think is incredibly eye-opening to people. So it's fun to get their perspective.
Love that. That's awesome. Well, looking forward to that show this week. And Ryan, looking forward to hopefully doing this show with you again. Congrats again on the Atlanta win, and good luck this weekend at North Wilkesboro.
Thanks, pal. Appreciate you having me.